Good evening, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed that. Now let's do something more. Would you please join me in taking out your cell phones for a moment? Cell phones, please. Please turn on your flashlight and raise it high, with the light pointing in my direction. Higher, all the way up, that's right. Now would you be so kind to lightly sway it in the air? Wow, what a beautiful sight. I wish you could see this from where I'm standing. What a simple way of how a group could work together to create such a fun effect. Thank you. You can put your phones away now. I would like you to take a moment to think about the power in our hands, the total combined power of this group. You know, I believe we have just grown too accustomed to this power that we panic whenever we forget it or can't find it. But did you know that the current toasters are more powerful than that used in the first moon landing? And now think of how that compares to your phone. Some say that the current iPhone is almost 1 million times more powerful than that used in the first moon landing. However, technology is not the future. People are the future. And here today, you are getting a look at the future. It's young kids like us who will be building that future. But do you know what the most important thing will be in the future? To learn to code. And that's why I am committed towards seeing each and every child in the world learn computer programming so they can participate in creating a better future. So how did I get introduced to coding? Well, one day, my dad did a prank on me. He showed me something on his computer, which had one button and a command, which said, press this if you're beautiful. So he told me to give it a try, but when my mouse pointer actually touched the You Are Beautiful command, it just disappeared. So I was like, how did you do that? Am I not beautiful? What's going on here? So he told me that he used something called coding to create it, and that got me really excited and involved in coding because I wanted to prank my friends in a similar way. Now at the time, I also loved board games. But I thought if I can't bring a physical board game onto a computer coding screen, why not bring the computer coding onto a board game? And now as easy as creating a board game may sound, it was not a piece of cake. When I first presented the idea to my parents, they were like, you're 6, what would you know about creating a game? But this was something I really wanted to do. So they told me that I could do some research about it first. I still thought that this was their nice way of saying no to me, but I'd do it anyway. I found out that creating a board game involved coming up with an idea, creating rough sketches, getting in contact with graphic designers, playtesting, prototyping, and eventually getting into mass production. This time, when I told my parents that, they're like, okay, you know what you're talking about. From there, they supported me the entire way. Whether it was getting in contact with graphic designers or driving back and forth to print out new rough sketches, they were always there for me. And then CoderBunnyz, the most comprehensive coding board game ever, was created. CoderBunnyz is my first amazing experience as a creator, and I'm loving every bit of it because I'm making young kids excited about coding in a really fun way. And as we all know, learning is always easier when it's fun. So now at the time, I had 5 or 6 prototypes in hand, and I started playing with people like my brother and some of my friends. And I thought, you know, this is really cool, but I want to teach even more kids. My mom said I could start doing workshops. Now at the time, I was 7, and I thought workshops were these things where you go to places like Home Depot and you build things out of wood. Now even though that was correct, the workshops my mom was talking about were the ones where you go to places like libraries or schools and you teach other kids about something you're good at. And that's exactly what I wanted to do. So I went to a few close-by libraries, and they're all like, oh, we already have online coding programs, or why don't you come back next year? A few libraries told me this, and I thought maybe my game isn't that good. But I didn't give up. I went to a few more libraries until the Santa Clara Central Library, one of the biggest libraries in the Bay Area. They loved the idea. We started doing workshops right away. From there, I've done hundreds of workshops, teaching thousands and thousands of kids at places like libraries, schools, tech events, communities, and corporations like Google, Microsoft, Intel, Facebook, and many others. And as I started doing more and more of these workshops, people started asking me where they could buy the game. Now, remember, at the time, I had only 5 or 6 prototypes in hand, and I was just doing this for fun. But a lot of parents started telling me this, and they're like, oh, it's a bummer I can't buy it for my kids. I think they would enjoy it, or they could learn from it. And so I thought maybe it's time to get into mass production. From there, within a year, we actually did get into mass production. We started selling on Amazon, and before I knew it, CoderBunnyz trended at #1 out of all of the board games there. It showed me how much impact my work can make in the community, and it motivated me to work even harder. And as I was going and growing in this process, I also learned that there are very few girls in the STEM and computer science field. In fact, girls and women are only represented 20%, while men are represented 80%. But now I can look back and I can really see, just like me when I was 5 years old, I like dolls and princesses. This coincidentally is the age where girls start to lose interest in math and science. People think maybe girls just aren't made for it. That's just the way it is. However, recently a test was taken across 65 countries in the world. Girls and boys were tested on the same science test. Overall, girls outsmarted boys, but not in the US. So people think maybe it's not a biological thing, but it's a cultural thing, the way we grew up. The girls' toy aisle is another perfect example, because from a very young age, we girls are taught to like princesses and be them. But it does not have to be that way. Girls can be as smart as boys, even in the engineering field. And that's why I've started doing workshops for girls only, to get more and more girls excited and involved in computer science. And I'm seeing that from these workshops, so many girls are telling me how they want to join their school's STEM or robotics clubs or even coding clubs, but they're too scared to because it's mainly boys. So with these workshops, I hope I can inspire girls that this is something they are welcome into. It's not only something for boys. And with the progress now being made, I'm confident that girls will be back on level field with boys in my lifetime. I've been fortunate enough to receive national and international recognition, but I believe that I am still a normal kid, with school, homework, extracurricular activities, and more. But I choose to invest time in doing workshops towards my goal of getting 1 billion kids into coding by the time I graduate from college. That would be around 2030. So how does Yes 1 Billion Kids Can Code work? Well, basically, I've been partnering with companies in places like Africa, China, Japan, India, Switzerland, and many other places to help spread the love of coding in every single corner of the world. Very recently, companies like Facebook, Walmart, and SAP itself have been donating CoderBunnyz games to underprivileged libraries and schools, so we can help spread the love of coding in those areas too. I have been doing workshops at so many places, and I've been training people to lead workshops in their own communities. I know that not every student will choose to become a professional coder when they grow, but I believe that a basic coding understanding will make them better thinkers, leaders, creators, and dreamers of this next generation. And I didn't stop there. So I see that, especially last summer, a lot of people were talking about this artificial intelligence thing. But I noticed that not even me myself and many of my friends didn't even know what it was. So I decided to do something about it. My dad actually works in the artificial intelligence field. And one day, as he was coming home from work, and he was telling me and my brother how cool it was, he got to design sort of the behind the scenes of the drones and the self-driving cars. My brother asks, you've told us so much about AI, but what really is it? And that got me thinking. I don't even know what artificial intelligence is myself. But after getting a lot of tips and trainings from my dad, I decided to create an easy and accessible way for all kids to learn the concepts of artificial intelligence. And that was through a board game. And that's how CoderBunnyz, the world's first ever artificial intelligence board game, was created. So CoderBunnyz actually teaches kids some of the concepts of artificial intelligence, such as training, inference, image recognition, backpropagation, adaptive learning, and others. And I'm saying that both kids and adults have already been learning so much from both CoderBunnyz and CoderBunnyz, but I want to do more, and that's why I started Cookies with CoderBunnyz. Cookies with CoderBunnyz is actually an interview series where I interview all sorts of people, like educators, entrepreneurs, tech leaders, and just individuals who make an impact in our community. So kids like me can learn from their creative ways of solving problems and basically changing the world. I've also gotten the chance to speak at over 50 conferences, nationally and internationally. But I believe these are like a platform for me to reach out to so many more amazing people, just like you. And I'm seeing that so many of them have already been starting to get involved with some of my goals and missions, like yes, 1 billion kids can go, bringing more girls into tech, Cookies with CoderBunnyz, some of my workshops, and more. I've done so much work nationally and internationally, but I haven't forgotten my own community. Last summer and this summer, I've held lemonade stands outside my house. Last summer, in a very quiet community, in just 2 hours, I raised $150. All of the money I earned went to an organization that helps end homelessness. Homelessness is a topic very close to my heart, and I believe that everybody deserves a safe place they can call home. But you must be wondering, how did I get this far? There need to have been some people who helped me, and there definitely were. My parents made a huge impact in who I am today. They've supported me, they've guided me, they've always been there for me. And my advisor, Karthi, has also always been there for me. She's always guided me. But I believe mentors make a huge impact in our lives as well. Lauren Wilson is a 6th grade school teacher, and he is my mentor. Just like any good mentor, he is like a flashlight that guides me through a dark tunnel. He's someone that lets me see the hope in myself. Lauren helps me develop in my own strengths, beliefs, and personal attributes. Benjamin Franklin once said, "Tell me and I forget, teach me, I may remember, involve me and I learn." So through my mentor and all mentors' way of teaching and guiding, it can really take us kids to a whole nother level. And I'm very thankful that both my advisor, Karthi, and my mentor, Lauren, are sitting here in the audience today. So can we please give them a huge round of applause? But I believe you all have superpowers within yourself that can help create the next disruptor. One of the main ones is the power of failure. You can provide us kids with an environment where we feel comfortable failing and taking risks. You can see if we're having any problems inside or out of school. And you can become literal lifesavers at this time by providing us comfort and assistance during these tough circumstances. This way we know there's someone to guide and protect us no matter what. Anyhow, if we're not even failing, we're probably not even learning or growing. Thomas Edison once said, "I have not failed. I have just found 1,000 ways it won't work." I believe from every failure, we are only learning and growing. So if you see a kid failing, make sure to let them know that. Let them know that every no is one step closer to a yes. Another superpower you have is X-ray vision. You can see through our lives, seeing where our passion, faith, strengths, struggles, where it all lies. And by believing in us, supporting us, even on those craziest ideas, that will make us kids the next disruptor. Finally, another superpower I believe you all have is the power of hope. You have a way to harness the power of hope in young kids like us. You remind us of the incredible possibilities that lie ahead in our lives. You bring power to our voices. By simply believing in us, you can help us kids accomplish so much. Because believe me, when we know that the people around us are believing in us, we feel like already half the task is accomplished. Therefore, giving the power of hope can really impact us children positively. But it's very important that while you are trying to build the next disruptor, you take care of yourselves. Here today, we stand in each other's futures. You provide us kids with an environment where we feel comfortable failing, you give us hope, and so much more. But it starts with you taking care of yourself. Taking the first step, which is taking care of yourself. Here on the screen, I have a few ways on how you can do so. But remember, you are your first priority. By taking care of yourself, you can take care of us kids. And when you're around us, give out those energetic, persistent, and positive vibes. And we kids feel those vibes, and it makes us want to work that many times harder because we know that the people around us have put their whole heart into helping us achieve what we truly want. I believe my journey has only begun, but I've already learned so much. One of the main ones is to follow your imaginations, not other people's limitations. I've seen that people will limit you in life. They'll say you can do this, but you can't do that, but you can do this. But I believe those are all just voices. Follow your imaginations, the people who guide you in the right direction, your mentors, advisors, and parents, and that is what will really take you far. So I've been learning so much from my interview series, Cookies with CoderBunnyz. But when I interviewed a technologist who has over 80 patents, does music, and so much more, I asked him, how do you manage with all of the work that you're doing? And he told me something that really stuck with me. It became my motto in life. I learned that time expands to accommodate your passions and priorities. I can really connect with this. As I remember when I started, I was like, how am I going to manage with school, homework, extracurricular activities, and then run a company? But I've learned over time that if I truly love what I do, then time actually expands to accommodate in all of your passions and priorities. And I'm very fortunate that technologist, Raju Chitambram, is sitting here in the audience today as well. So can we also give him a huge round of applause? Finally, I've learned to not worry about failure. Instead, worry about the chances you miss when you don't even try. There's so many times I look back and I see if I had just stopped when my parents had told me just because I'm 6, I can't create a game. Or when the libraries had told me to come back next year, or that they already have online coding programs. If I had stopped there, I wouldn't to this day have taught hundreds of kids. If I had stopped there, I wouldn't be on this stage today. So I've learned over time to instead of worry about the outcome, which may be failure or success, worry about the experiences that you may have missed if you hadn't even tried in the first place. But what does this have to do with you being here today? Well, as I said, our generation is the future, but we will need your help. We need you to guide us, mentor us, to shape us. Today, many kids like me are passive users, things like games, social media, and a source of information online for school projects. But we want you to encourage them to become producers of these things. Provide us kids with the tools and opportunities to follow our dreams and reach for the stars. Will you do that? I really hope so. But before I end, I would like to state that I am a part of this huge mission called Generation Arm to Z with the company ARM. And I'm very fortunate that the CEO of ARM, Simon Seger, is sitting here in the audience today. We are working on a huge project with the Sustainable Development Goals number 8, where we're making jobs equal to all. So I'm very fortunate that he has come to hear me talk, and can we please also give him a huge round of applause? Thank you all for coming.
Thank you. Wow, Samaira, thank you so much. Samaira is going to do a Q&A. If you guys want to think of some questions, you want to take a second or two, or you want to stay up here with me?
I think we can do it.
All right. We're going to do a Q&A. We're going to have some microphones passed around. But when I stood up here before and mumbled through my first minute or two, I talked about SAP Bay Area's pledge for STEM education. And so we are SAP Bay Area, and our CSR team is going to donate 100 games for the schools here in the local areas and public libraries. Yeah. We're also going to give all of you guys a few things. So if you guys could reach under your seats, the people who are sat here in the middle, you always benefit. If you could reach under your seats, we got a few things that we're going to give out today. Some of you guys may be lucky. We have some board games. We also have some tickets to the 49ers, and we also have some tickets to the San Jose Sharks. So they're under there somewhere. What do you have? Board game. The San Jose Sharks tickets, and there is, I think, some 49ers tickets. There you go. And that's thank you guys for being here this evening. Again, we're going to do these every month, but we're going to pass it off back again to Samaira. You good?
Yeah.
Need water or anything?
I'm good, thank you.
I don't know what you guys are doing at 11, but it was not doing what Samaira is doing. So give it up for her one more time, guys.
Thank you.
First question. Anybody? Yeah? Okay. No questions. Here we go.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The reason I'm here tonight, I currently work here at HanaHaus, and through a few mentors in the space, like you were speaking about, I have taken the plunge myself to do a pivot in my career to start coding.
Wow.
I've been doing a boot camp the last 6 weeks, and just really want to say that a lot of the stuff that you're talking about with the self-care and the mentors and everything like that, those are the most important things when you need that extra little boost to get through your day.
Definitely. I completely agree. Thank you.
Anyone? It's going to make it easy on you, I think, Samaira. Anyone? No one has any questions for Samaira? Yeah, you have one? Are you waving? Okay. I think you're getting off the hook easy. I think we're good. All right, we have one.
I have a 3-year-old niece and a 2-year-old niece, and I really want to encourage them to code. Is there anything you could recommend to get them interested?
I would say, start out with what they love. Each kid has their own passions, and that may or may not be coding, but whatever that may, whether it be Minecraft or something else, maybe start with what he or she truly loves and build upon that. Build upon that with coding and other skills that you want him or her to learn.
Thank you very much.
Hey Samaira, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
So where do you think this is going to take you in life? Where do you see your career going after this? You're pretty accomplished so far. Let's face it, I've been wondering what I've been wasting my life on, quite frankly. But where do you see this taking you?
Right now, actually, one of my biggest goals is actually focusing on my goal of getting 1 billion kids into coding. That's something I really want to work hard to. I believe it is something accomplishable, and I really am working hard towards that. But right now, at least what I want to do when I grow up is I want to become the President of America.
I think we'll take you now.
I believe this will be like a platform for me to, reach out to more people and do even greater in the community.
You go for it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, Samaira.
Hi. Oh, hi.
Good to see you again. What can you suggest for adults who don't understand artificial intelligence?
Artificial intelligence is such a wide topic. There's so much in it. I would just say, start out from the very basics. There's a lot of sites, a lot of tools that help you start off. And I'd say, just like a kid, build upon that. I believe all adults are still kids in heart. And you can really just build upon some of your true passions and some things that you truly believe in.
Hi, Samaira.
Hi.
It's so interesting to hear what you're doing professionally and your aspirations. What do you like to do when you're not running a company and going to school in your free time?
I do love to code, but I love the outdoors as well. I love playing tennis. I love going on hikes. I love anything that has to do with the outdoors. I love playing the guitar, and I love singing as well.
Very inspirational. I wish I was like you when I was young.
Thank you.
How do you balance life, work, and study? How do you? There's so much. Obviously, you do so much, but how do you balance it all?
I think this goes back to Raju's saying, time really does expand to accommodate in your passions and priorities. But what I like to do is, I'm still a normal kid. I go to school and I have homework. But I like to at least set aside 1 or 2 hours a day to focus on some of the goals in my company to see. I at least like to discuss, with my parents to see where this is going, what we can do, any new events or workshops coming up. What am I doing towards achieving my 1 billion kids can code goal? So I like to at least set aside some time to work on that. And I know that's not possible each and every day with homework and tests. In fact, just today I had a huge science test. So I'm still a normal kid. I have to balance. Hi.
Hi. How did you learn to code?
I was actually introduced to my dad, as I said earlier. He did a prank on me, and that got me really involved in coding. I think it really starts out with, grabbing the attention. Because we as kids have a very short attention span, and if we're not interested, we'll easily lose interest. When I first started with coding, I immediately found it something interesting, but I saw in the way my friends were introduced to it, they didn't have the same passion as I did. So that's also one of the things that led me to creating a board game, to get all kids excited. But I think what it is it's grabbing the attention of a child and putting it in a fun way, because with board games, it makes kids excited. It's a fun way to introduce to coding, which then you can go on a computer and really connect with some of the concepts and feel that, I learned this from the game and I'm actually using it in real life to create long lines of codes like those computer scientists do. So I think, I was introduced to it by my dad, but it's really just grabbing the attention.
Hey, Samaira,
Hi.
you know what is the age that makes you eligible for presidency in this country?
I believe it's over 32?
35.
35, okay.
So what is your plan between 11 and 35? What will be the progression?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
So what is your plan going from 11 years of age to 35? What are the milestones in between?
Achieving my goal of getting 1 billion kids into coding, that is before I turn 35. I'll graduate college before I turn 35. So basically, it's just really I'm working towards that goal. I really, truly want to achieve it. I'm working towards doing more and more workshops, partnering with companies all across the world, even companies in this Bay Area itself, training more people. So I think right now that's truly what I want to focus on. Thank you.
Hi, Samaira. What is your experience with trying to get the games into the classroom or into clubs at schools?
So, I'm seeing that the experiences have been really great. So, recently all these companies, Facebook, Walmart, SAP itself, have been donating games. And I've been looking at pictures of the kids playing. And what really actually is my biggest accomplishment is seeing the smiles on kids' faces after they write their first code. So, I think it's really great that it's a board game. It grabs kids' attentions because board games, it's more of online nowadays, but I believe that board games, it gets you off the screen. It brings you together with your friends and your family. And then I believe that it's like a tool that you can still use to learn new things. Like from Monopoly, you can learn real estate, spelling from Scrabble, but it's still an old trick that can still be used to learn new things. So with the board games that have been used in schools, the response from teachers have been great, and it really, truly makes me really happy.
I think that's the last of the questions. I have one more. We have one more? There we go. Sorry.
Hi, Samaira.
Hi.
I'm Ankur, and your father and myself were in college together in IIT Delhi, long time back, 2 decades back. So my question for you is, what's your happiest moment ever?
Well, as I mentioned, my happiest moment is actually just seeing the smiles on kids' faces after they write their first code. I've gotten great opportunities, and I'm honestly truly thankful for them. But I think it's just seeing the smiles on kids' faces that makes me the most happiest. Seeing that all the work that has built up to that moment of that smile, it really makes me happy.
Thank you, guys. Samaira, thank you so much for being here tonight. You're a rock star. She is going to have some board games set up in the back and answering a couple more questions for a couple more minutes. I know you probably have school tomorrow, so you can get home early, but a couple more minutes after. But again, we have some board games. Thank you guys all again for coming out. We do this every month, so follow the HanaHaus on their social channels, and you'll find out our next speaker next month. Thank you so much.
Thank you.